Hello, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jimmy Qualls, and with me, as always, my co-host, Tate Mathews. Tate, we've had a full week of football. The last 2 weeks, Tate, we have gone 13-1 out of the conference. Summit, obviously, the only loss right now. We'll talk about that in a minute. Before we get into football, let's talk real briefly about what's going on in the WCS Sports Conference. Soccer District begins this week. I think we have some favorites possibly to win the AAA state crown. Ravenwood right now looking awfully good. Independence, also another team. The district tournament for the Big Six ought to be very interesting. Now you look at the AA level. You got Page right now, probably a favorite in the AA to at least advance pretty deep. Fairview, also a pretty decent team as well. Yeah,
I mean, you've always knew that the big ones, Ravenwood, Brentwood, Franklin, going to be very good in soccer. Independence wins the I guess it's region now, district. Now that they're playing well, Summit's better. So that tournament, you know, as tough as the volleyball tournament is, soccer tournament might be as tough. Page, we've talked about before. I think when you're talking about soccer, Coach Clapp might do as good a job as anybody. You know they've got a very good chance to go back to the state tournament. Now that Fairview's playing great soccer, it's a lot to be excited about. I know it sounds like a broken record, but we're just very well-rounded in sports in this conference.
Absolutely. We've already won the golf title. Yep. Hopefully we'll be favored going in and win the soccer title, and we know we're going to be favored in the cross country. Carly Pascal, remember that name, Ravenwood High School. She is actually in the West Coast, or out on the West Coast right now, qualifying and trying out for the World Cup team.
Unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
I mean, you think about that. World Cup, you think back of when the USA team won it. I mean, if she could be a part of that, what would that do for the WCS Sports Conference?
Be a lot. We've obviously had Kathy Kroger through the years. She was an All-American, and, just a lot of really good ones. We thought it was a big deal when we made What'd you make, third team all district?
Honorable mention. Well, and not only that, we're also going to be favored in the next sport we're going to talk about, volleyball. Right now, Brentwood obviously is going to be the clear favorite going in. Brentwood, Franklin go 1-2 in the district tournament. Franklin's kind of a surprise story. Yes. Congratulations to Coach Holzer.
Coach of the year. She was voted Coach of the year.
And I think that both those have an opportunity to advance deep into the state tournament. AA volleyball regional play begins tonight. Right now, Page looks to be one of the favorites in there. They play Hickman County at Camden. I think they'll probably run through that region, get themselves into sub-state, host a sub-state game, and then probably advance pretty deep. I hope they have an opportunity, Coach Hess and his group, to win the AA state championship.
Without a doubt. You know that they're going to be right there in it. If they don't make it, it's because somebody pretty good beat them.
Well, absolutely. And let's get into football. It's no surprise right now. To some people, it may be a surprise, but right now the WCS Sports Conference is looking awful strong in out-of-conference play.
Without a doubt, and it's fun to watch. The teams are coming into, they're coming into form, coming into shape. The guys that we knew were going to be really good are good. It's been fun to watch. I know we're going to get to it, but Franklin, watching them get better, Brentwood getting better, and the thing we knew the big guys were going to be some really competitive teams. It's been fun to watch. We thought Page, if they'd stay healthy, they were a really special team. Looks like they are. Fairview, rough start. Once they got going, man, they've just been on a roll. They're playing great. So top to bottom, playing very well.
Speaking of Fairview, Coach Hughes starts the year 0-2. They get throttled at Page. He has the ship right, correct, going in the right direction. They're 5-2, 3-0 in district play right now in region play, in Region 6 3A. They're atop of the standings there. Beat Sycamore for first place on last Friday night, 16-14. It's homecoming. It's a testament. Sycamore, not sure how good they are, but Fairview right there outlasts them 16-14.
Yeah, Sycamore, a much better football team. That was for, going to play it big into the region championship at the end of the year. So they're a much better football team. And with the weather, second week in a row of just terrible weather, the field conditions, that played more into what Sycamore does than Fairview does. So they grinded it out, toughed it out. That's a good win for them.
Hunter Zimmerman was nominated for one of the top 10 players in the Mid-State this past week. Hunter Zimmerman, once again, just keeps on doing his thing. And if they keep with that right frame of mind behind Hunter Zimmerman, Fairview can succeed.
Oh, yeah. And depending on how far – they're going to make the playoffs. Depending on how far they go into it. This young man, he's going to end up definitely starting over 30 games. Could get close to 40 in his high school career. That's amazing.
All the record books are having to be rewritten because of him. Page 5-2, 3-0. They had to bye this past week. They could easily be sitting at 7-0. Lost both those games by 2 points total. Going to be playing Giles County coming up for a big region game there. Centennial moves to 7-1, 5-0, beating Brentwood, who is 4-4, 4-1. We knew that Brentwood has gotten better, and they have gotten tons better because this game was close. WCTV Play of the Week this week, Clay Carter and the special teams of Centennial's defense blocking a punt in the third quarter. Now, this was a minute to go. The score was 10-3. Take a look at this play.
Speed is kind of making a difference right now.
You know, the fact that it really kind of stopped raining.
Oh, and it is tipped. And there's the big fella, 81. Check your rosters. I think that's Nick Bell.
That is Nick Bell.
Wow. Somebody, and it looked like Tucker Day had plenty of time. Now,
Nick Bell with a huge play.
that could
Big
be our
basketball star.
POW Play of the Week.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Here we go, yeah.
And I don't know, doesn't look like he had plenty of time there. Man, he had a couple of guys getting his face. The personal protectors didn't really step up and stop that. You got that wall back there of 3 guys for Brentwood, and they let a couple of them through, and Bell does a great job of realizing what's happened and come over that ball and get a touchdown.
As you can tell right there, 10-3, minute to go. That is a game changer. They blocked the punt, run it in for a touchdown to go up 17-3, changes the whole complexion of the game.
Yeah, it was. And if you watch the pregame show with Coach Crawford, that was one of the things he talked about. Brian was going to, try to onside kick. He was going to come after punts, and you can tell on that one. They came after that. Clay Carter, a playmaker, the leading tackler on the defense, great play by them. But you're right, it changed the game. The other thing that tells you is we knew it. It just goes to show that Coach Crawford, they wanted to come out. We knew they were going to have a good game plan, and they were going to try to take away some of what Centennial did. It was 10-3 before that play. That was going to be a game Brentwood was going to have to play perfect in to win. Obviously, block punt hurt them, but you can tell Brentwood is getting better.
Well, Centennial right now, what do? You've got a two-headed monster coming at you right there. Mondu Sawyer's 27 attempts at 95 yards. He's going to get 90 to 100 yards every game. You stop him, then you have the big dog behind him. Tyrell Dotson, only 9 touches, 45 yards. That's 5 yards per carry.
Well, and what I loved is he threw his first touchdown pass. So, I guess the only thing left is maybe for Coach Rector to put him back there and let him punt. I mean, we know he can play defense. We know he can run. Now he's throwing touchdown passes. Pretty gifted athlete.
Well, it's funny you bring that up. We had Coach Crawford on the coaching show last week, and you even said it earlier. He knew that something special was coming. He knew that the double reverse was coming. Like you said, a block punt, something, an onside kick, something was coming. It's just a matter of when it's coming. Right there, Tyrell Dotson, like you said, gets his first touchdown pass. Every time he touches the ball, it's a 5-yard carry. It's just hard to stop them right now. If they can continue going and playing solid like they are, play good defense, Centennial could be or have an opportunity right now to be one of the favorites in AA.
That's right.
In 5A. How fun would it be to see Independence Centennial one more time?
That'd be awesome. First game of the season, last game of the season. That'd be fun to watch.
I think you'll see a difference in both teams. Obviously, one's going to have full of confidence. One has changed their complexion completely. Carson Croy did not have a bad game either at quarterback for Brentwood, 13-29, 228 yards. Brentwood is that team. That team you do not want to get matched up in the first round of the playoffs.
You don't want to see, if you're from another region, first round, you don't want to see them. You don't want to see Franklin.
Absolutely. Centennial once again beats Brentwood 24-10 to move to 7-1, 5-0 in region play. Number 1 in state in 5A, Indy rolls again 7-0, 4-0. This was a game everybody was talking about. It was a Titans game of the week. Shelbyville, they throw. It's going to be a track meet. It was a track meet, but it was a one-sided track meet. As the final score of that game was 46-15 as Andrew Bunch made his return.
Andrew Bunch makes his return, only plays 3 quarters, 289 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. And you can't talk enough about what Adam Swayze's done in his absence, but it just made them better. Not only Bunch more of a throwing quarterback, but now you get one of your best receivers back out there, and then Adam is, if not the leader of that defense, one of the best, one of the leaders on that defense. He shores up the secondary, and you can't say enough about it, man. Now remember, Bunch's injury was one that was limiting him from throwing. He hadn't been throwing this whole time. He's been keeping his mind sharp, watching film and things like that. He comes out, plays 3 quarters, goes 24-36, 289 yards, 3 touchdowns against Shelbyville, who at one time was a top 10 team. I'm excited, man. And the Independence defense is for real. All those people who thought, yeah, they can score points, but they don't play defense, they're for real. Shelbyville's been scoring, averaging almost 40 points a game. And this game could have been worse.
I think if Creed goes back and rewinds the tapes and looks back, we always said from the start, if they can get their defense figured out, Independence is going to be tough to stop. Now, you made a good point. Swayze's now back out at the receiver position. That keeps them honest off Nate Johnson. Now, these aren't stats that are going to blow people away. 3 catches for 30 yards, that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
So what does it do? Nate Johnson, 7 catches, 79 yards, but when he touches it, 3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns. He reminds me, and I think you too, a lot of Van. You know, a lot of people talked about that last year about obviously great athlete, but the thing I like about him is watch him. He runs good routes, man. That's paying attention to detail. That's being coachable, and he's special. You're not going to put anybody out there on him one-on-one and cover him.
Well, you have all the receiving yards there, a ton of them, 289 to be exact. But then what does that do for rushing? Daniel Wright, 12 touches, 119 yards, 1 touchdown. So when you spread them thin, all of a sudden, if you've got a runner or running back that can take care of business, which Independence obviously does, going to be tough to stop.
Yeah, and he's fun to watch. He's a physical back. He runs low to the ground. We saw it up close and personal in the Summit game. You know, if you don't wrap up on him, you see a lot of people bouncing off him. He's fun to watch. He's a great complement to that passing game.
Well, here's an interesting stat. You know, when it comes down to region play, if there are any tiebreakers or anything that come down to it, they look at your total schedule, how you've outscored opponents. Right now, Independence has outscored their opponents 254-71. I think they're going to lead in that category.
They can score some points.
They can score some points in a hurry. Summit 2-5, 1-3, lost to Franklin County 21-10. I know that we both picked Summit. This is a disappointing loss for Coach Coleman. I know that he is disappointed in this. I really deep down thought that this was a win for Summit. I still think they have at least one more win on the schedule, maybe more than one. But this is one they needed to make that run. They had 4 games left. They needed to win 3 or 4 to get into the playoffs. This was one that I had chosen that I really thought that they were going to win.
Yep, I think you're right, man. This is a heartbreaker. I know it was to them. I think there was a lot of things going to it. One, weather didn't play into it very well. You got to go to Winchester. What a huge win the week before. Now, there's been a lot of firsts this year. Now what do we got to do? We got to take the next step. We got to learn how to follow up a big win with another big win. And it was heartbreak. It really puts the playoffs. It's still possible, but it's going to be really tough now. But, get back, get to work, and get better.
But they're going to have to do exactly what you said. They're going to have to, for the first time in school history, they're going to have to win back-to-back games.
They're going to win 3 in a row.
That comes the last 2 games. I still think that there's an outside chance that if they can win those last 2 games, you play Laverne, you get the big win before this game against Laverne, against 2 of the best backs, possibly in Rutherford County. And then you come out and play a Franklin County team that may be better than advertised. They've been getting beat pretty handedly, but you have a lead deep in the third quarter, 10-6. You give up the lead. You do not score a point in the fourth quarter. You give up 15 and get beat 21-10. It's just one of those learning curves, bumps in the road, if you will, that Summit's going to have to overcome. They got to learn how to finish, and it's coming. They've gotten better. They've gotten closer. They have finished some games. Laverne was one of those. Laverne tried to make a last-minute run into this thing, trying to upset them, and Summit held on. This is just one of those games that you got to keep your focus. You cannot let your guard down. You cannot be complacent at the fact that you won a game.
That's right.
You've got to keep winning to get yourself into the playoffs.
That's right, and that comes with time. But they're, you talk to anybody out there, they're doing the right stuff. It'll come. Just keep getting better each week. That's all they can do right now.
Ravenwood moves to 6-1, 4-0, beat Lebanon 52-0. You called this one. This was the closest thing to a bye week. I said no way that Lebanon may give them. I didn't think they were going to beat them, but 52-0. This was like a scrimmage for those guys. Got some work in the first half and took it easy. I think the score was absolutely. It was 52-0 at halftime. We brought the subs in. Right now, Chris Rowland, Connor Jeffries, Rapay, the whole bunch are playing well. Chris Rowland's a diamond in the rough, if you ask me.
Holy cow. 4 touches, 3 of them for touchdowns, 2 of them were punt returns. He's just, he is. Coach Hester and I were talking the other day. Somebody has got to take a chance on this kid. If nothing else, put him back there and let him return punts. He's just got it. He's got a knack. I know this. I don't know much. But if I'm the other coach, I'm telling that punter to punt that thing out of bounds. Don't punt it to 23.
He's got, I think, 4 returns for touchdowns, maybe even more than that. But the thing about it is, we go back in time and we think about what we've gone through last year. You look at Van, obviously it was automatic. He fits the bill perfectly. He's got the size, he's got the ability, he's got the IQ. And then we go to his brother, Seth Rowland, who we really thought was another diamond in the rough, and I think that he will have a career at a college somewhere before it's over with. He's at a prep school right now. He's going to do well. I wish him best of luck. And then you look at Austin Percy, another one we thought diamond in the rough. This kid right here, Chris Rowland, does not fit that bill. He's a little bit smaller. He doesn't have the weight, but I'm telling you, he's as elusive as a back that you'll come across. And I think and I hope that somebody will take a chance on this kid.
That's right. I mean, he's doing it against 6A football. I'll tell you a couple other things that I loved. Cruz Holt kicks a 52-yarder. I believe, I'm not 100%, but I believe that's the longest in the state so far this year. 3 touchbacks, 5 for 5 extra points. I mean, what does that mean? They're not getting a return. You know, I think 85% of the time he's getting a touchback, so they're not getting a return. He can't return one for a kickoff. He's hit all of his extra points. What a weapon there is. Ravenwood attempted 1 pass in the first half, 52-0. 1 pass. And then the other thing, we saw it with the Summit game. Jaron Stewart, Lebanon's got a great back in Jaron Stewart. They held him to 18 yards. Well, 52-0 in the first half, second half, what does that mean? That means the young pups played, still held that guy to 18 yards. It was a dominating performance.
If we were sitting here last year and say, well, next year they're going to be a team 52-0, and at halftime be 1 attempted pass, you'd have been like, that's crazy. I mean, they've completely flipped the script on what were they. But that's a testament to Coach Hester, what he's doing. He knows the strong points. They're gonna live and die by it, and it's going to be interesting when we get into playoffs here to where Ravenwood, because I personally have not discounted Ravenwood. I love Ravenwood, love what he's doing out there, but it's just such a different team that a lot of people are thinking they're not the same team. They're not good enough to make it deep. You better pump the brakes on that, because Ravenwood's going to be a major player come deep in the playoffs.
Well, what's 2 things you got to do in the playoffs? Run the ball and play defense and kick. They've got those 3 taken care of. I think he wants them to discredit him. You know what I'm saying? They want to sneak up on some people. They're confident about what they can do in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Franklin 4-3, 2-2, beat Wilson Central 35-30. You picked this as the biggest win for the WCS Sports Conference this weekend. You know, their confidence is getting high right now. I mean, they started out below 500, similar to Page. The doctor of defense is dialing it up. They're playing really, really well right now. I think that Franklin could be one of those teams that may not be seeded very high, but I don't want to play them in the first round.
You're exactly right. And, hey, Wilson Central, go back and look at their scores. They've been putting up big scores. They've been putting up big offensive totals, rushing the ball very, very well. 3 points. I mean, that defense played great. And then let's look at Landon Craddock on the offensive side for the Rebels. A little bit different. I don't think he's going to win the 100-meter dash in the state track meet come spring. 245 yards. They rushed for 412 total as a team. You're right. I mean, there's a lot of positive things going on right now in this conference, but I think the job that Franklin's done, Coach Webb and his staff and those kids, they've gotten a lot better, man, a lot better. They got a really good win against Riverdale. As the season goes on, it's becoming quite obvious that Riverdale's a little bit better than what people thought. Again, Wilson Central's had some big wins. That was a big win, man. That was a nice win, and I think you're right. Come first round of the playoffs, I don't think anybody wants to have Franklin as their first round opponent. They're just getting better, and they're going to be well coached.
Can't say enough about what he's done, the doctor of defense himself, Coach Webb. Also, you can't say congrats enough to these guys because, I mean, he's such a good guy. He does a great job with those kids, cares about the Franklin High School kids, and they could have easily been dead in the water right now. Everybody, completely has written them off, losing as many as players as he lost last year. The quarterback situation, all that gone, all the offensive weapons gone. He's come back in here. He's got himself above 500. He's 500 in the region. More wins left on the schedule. Franklin, like you said, first round could be tough. Let's do the region rundown. Region 3, 6A, Ravenwood sitting atop of the region right now, 6-1, 4-0. Like we said, beat Lebanon 52-0. Mount Juliet climbing up that ladder. I think we predicted that early in the year. Mount Juliet could be a team to be reckoned with. 5-3, 4-1, beat Antioch 35-7. McGavick had the bye, 4-3, 3-1, sitting in third place right now. Franklin 4-3, 2-2, sitting in fourth place, beat Wilson Central 35-3. Overton also had the bye, 4-3, 2-2, tied with Franklin in that fourth slot. right now. Wilson Central 4-4, 2-3 in the region, lost to Franklin. Lebanon 2-5, 0-4. As we said earlier, lost to Ravenwood. Antioch 0-7, 0-4. What game sticks out to you?
Franklin Wilson Central, not that the Rebels won, the way they won in dominating fashion.
I agree with you, absolutely.
Region 7 5A, Henry County 7-1, 5-0, beat Dixon 63-27.
Gave up 27 points, though. They had that their string was broken.
You're right. Yeah, I think threes. I'm pretty sure those came late.
Yep.
So we'll give you a bye on
Okay.
that. Centennial 7-1, 5-0 tied. They beat Brentwood 24-10. Brentwood in third, 4-4, 4-1, lost to Centennial 24-10. Here's the great thing. Reminder from last week: Brentwood's already in the playoffs. Rossview 6-2, 3-2 beat West Creek 41-0. Clarksville 2-7. Don't know if people saw it. They had to forfeit 5 of their games, so they're not making the playoffs. But they won Northeast 17-14. That one counts. Dixon 2-6, 0-5, lost to Henry County 63-27. West Creek in last place, 0-8, 0-5, lost to Rossview 41-0. What sticks out to you?
I'm going to tell you what sticks out to me. Brentwood's loss sticks out to me, and I'll tell you why. We talked to, we talked to Coach last week. We talked about the top 4 teams. The Montgomery County teams are not as strong. He's already have a win over Rossview. Centennial has Rossview left as well as Henry County. Now, Henry County's got to run the gauntlet. They've got to play Brentwood. They've got to play Centennial. This is all right here coming down to who's going to host and who's going to go on the road. Do not sleep on the Bruins quite yet. I think that game was closer. Obviously, if you take that block punt away, anything can happen. I look forward to seeing what Centennial does with Henry County. I look forward to seeing what Brentwood does to see who gets to host those home playoff games. Region 5, 5A, Indy stays perfect, 7-0, 4-0, number 1 in 5A right now in the state. Lincoln County 6-1, 3-1, beat Columbia 20-8. Shelbyville 5-2, 2-2, moves down to third place because of their loss to Indy. Franklin County 3-4, 2-2 as they beat Summit 21-10. Laverne 4-3, 2-2 had their bye. Stewart's Creek 4-3, 2-2 had a bye as well. They're sitting in that 5th and 6th slot, trying to get into that top 4 spots. Summit 2-5, 1-3 lost to Franklin County. Columbia sitting in last, 0-4 in the region, 3-4 overall, lost to Lincoln County. What sticks out?
The Summit lost to Franklin County. I thought they had them. I thought they were going to go down there, control the ball, and be able to get out another one. But they didn't, and they'll learn from it. But that's the one that
one of the most important things, heartbreaking to a coach. You can convey the message all you want to the kids, but sometimes the kids just don't understand the importance of that game. Now, I'm not saying that happened, but that game was so important to them to get into the playoffs. Maybe, they're going to have some help. They're going to have to win some games. Now, the Lincoln County game is going to be obviously a mountain to climb for those guys, but it's just the importance of that game. I hope they understood it. Maybe they won't take the win out of themselves. Old Sparty they still have to play Columbia. They still have Stewart's Creek. They win those 2 games. You never know what could happen right there. Franklin County could lose. I don't know if Laverne and Franklin County have played yet, but they still could lose. If they happen to get into a tie with Laverne, Summit wins that tie.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Interesting.
All right, Region 4, 4A, Marshall County 6-1, 3-0 bye. Page 5-2, 3-0 bye. Spring Hill 2-5, 1-2. They lost to Father Ryan. That one was a tough one in a shootout. Lawrence County 2-5, 1-2 bye. Giles County 1-6, 1-2 bye. Tullahoma 0-7, 0-3 bye.
I tell you what sticks out to me is that they all played well. They all played well.
Nobody lost.
They had it figured out. The region all had the byes. They come back this week and play a full schedule.
Here's what sticks out to me. Marshall County Page. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be awesome. Region 6 3A Fairview sitting on top right now, 5-2, 3-0. Beat Sycamore. Camden's 3-4, 3-0. Beat Cheatham County 34-16 in third place. Sycamore 5-3, 3-1. Lost to Fairview. Stewart County had the bye, sitting in 4th place. Harpeth 3-4. Beat East Hickman. East Hickman right now is sitting in 6th. Lost to Harpeth 1-7, 1-3 overall. Cheatham County 1-7, 0-4 in region play in last place. What sticks out?
That Fairview and Sycamore and Camden are going to make it to the playoffs, and the rest of the league's not real good.
That's correct. So let's talk about this week's game. We have a short amount of time. Fairview is at East Hickman. East Hickman right now is probably reeling on their back of the hills. All but the death blow is fixing to happen. I think Fairview's going to be okay in that game.
Yeah, they're going to be fine. That's a game kind of like Lebanon and Ravenwood. You're supposed to win, show up, take care of business, get the young guys in.
Absolutely. Page versus Giles County. That scares me a little bit. Giles County could be a team it's a Jekyll and Hyde team. If the good side shows up, you could be in for a dogfight.
Yeah, and they're kind of re-energized. But I think Page, we got seniors, Michael Magochi, Michael Roberts. I think they know how to win, know how to take business. They'll show up and be okay.
I think so. I think they're focused as well. Franklin right now versus McGavick. This is a big game. This is for third place. You got to stay in that spot to try to hopefully maybe get one of those home spots.
That's right. This is how mature are we as the Rebels? McGavick, very athletic, show up, take care of business 2 games in a row.
Indy at Columbia. Columbia has not won a game in the region. I don't foresee any problems with Coach Blade and his bunch going to Columbia.
If the bus makes it there, Indy's going to be okay.
Well, Centennial this week has a bye. Next week they'll be at Rossview. It could be an interesting game. I think that Centennial takes care of business at Rossview. Summit 2-5 at Lincoln County. Tough matchup for Old Sparty.
Lincoln County, they've been the surprise to me. I did not know they were this good. I thought maybe this might be a little bit of a fluke. They're a good football team. Go, control the ball, no turnovers, shorten the game. They got a chance.
Ravenwood 6-1, 3-0 versus Overton. This is another little game right there. You don't want to call it a trap game, but Overton is not a team to sleep on. This probably a little further away from the bye week than you expected last week.
No question. Very athletic. Franklin, all you got to do is put on the Franklin tape. Very athletic. But again, a game, if Ravenwood takes care of business, they'll be okay. But by no means is this an easy one.
I know that Coach Hester wants to finish that region play undefeated. Very important getting yourself in a proper situation there, going into regions. And that's why it's so important for Franklin as well to win that game. That's a big game for both these teams.
Yeah.
Franklin probably more so than Ravenwood. Franklin really needs to get themselves in position to not get a low seed and have to go somewhere. Now, we've said it that Franklin's not the team you want to play, but if you played at home, confidence is there.
Sure.
Yeah, the Rebellion shows up, Dr. Defense dials it in, you never know what's going to happen.
That's true.
All right, so let's go to Pick'ems right now. We're sitting at you're sitting at 25-4. I'm sitting at 22-7. I think we had no blood this past week. We broke even on every game. Fairview at East Hickman.
Fairview, they win early and take care of business.
Absolutely. The Jackets come in. They sting the poor Eagles of East Hickman. I agree with you. I think this game's probably over sooner than later.
Shortest trip they'll have all year.
Absolutely. 15 minutes down the road. Page versus Giles County.
You're right. I don't like this, but I think Page is mature enough to take care of it. They'll go down, or to them, they'll get a win. But this is, don't let 1-6 fool you. This is an athletic team. Page wins.
Absolutely. They like you said, they're re-energized, got a new coach down there. Things are going on, but I think Page Patriots are too focused. Page rolls in that one. Franklin versus McGavick, another tough one.
It is. I'm going to go with Franklin, but this is probably the toughest one of the night. I think Franklin takes care of business, but McGavick's very athletic. I'm going to go with Dr. Defense and the Rebels.
I agree. The Rebellion rolls, and it's going to be a tight one. Independence at Columbia. I don't see anything happening here. I think Independence continues on. We're
going to find out just how ready that scoreboard WCS app you have is, because that thing better be ready, because that scoreboard's going to be lighting up. It's going to be like a slot machine.
I better call Steve and say have it ready, because keep it refreshing all the way.
Put a battery pack on it.
Centennial has the bye. They're next at Rossview. Summit. Old Sparty at Lincoln County.
Lincoln County wins. They're just a really good.
Oh, come on. I'm getting it back. I'm getting the mojo back. Old Sparty right here. Biggest win in school history. We've said that every time they've won. This would be the biggest upset of the state of the night. Go Old Sparty. Get yourself in the playoffs. Ravenwood versus Overton.
G2 bar.
G2 bar. It'll be a little closer than the Lebanon score.
No doubt.
Lebanon was 52-0.
Could have been 100.
This one might be 47-14. I don't know. But I think the G2 bar rolls in that one. Well, it's going to be fun. We'll see you next week. We'll talk about the scores. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time.